What is up? Welcome to WireTapped, Club Fantasy's weekly waiver wire show. I got to be honest, coming out of week 5, the injuries were not terrible, but we did lose Omarion Hampton. We just cannot have nice things. And now the question is, how are you going to replace him? Let's get into it. Good morning. Welcome to WireTapped, Club Fantasy's weekly waiver wire show. I am your host, Ryan Weiss. With me, as always, Josh Hudson. Josh, we got a pretty exciting Monday night game. Not exactly what we were expecting, though. Heading towards halftime, it looked like we were about to get the exact same crap that we got on Sunday night, which is what we thought. But it ended a little bit more exciting.
All I know is all my unders were looking so good until that final drive.
I have a fun story
Fuck
on that.
The Jags.
I had a parlay. DraftKings gave me a little booster, and I had Trevor Lawrence at over 200 passing yards, and he was at like 173 with like a minute 40 or something left in the game. I was like, well, that's a loss. And I went to bed and woke up and it was a winner. And I'm like, okay, well, that worked out.
Well, it was funny because on Anxiety yesterday, we were talking about, our Monday night props, and mine was Trevor Lawrence underdog had him underdog had him at, I think, 217.5.
Okay.
And he ends up with 221.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
I took the under on Hard Rock because that's the only legal betting platform I have in Florida. Their over-under was 22.5. So I ended up hitting on Hard Rock. I missed on Underdog. So
wow.
Yeah.
You got to love that when there's just a little differentiation in between the books. So, yeah, fun Monday night. Good morning.
Well, it didn't matter because his last pass to frickin' Brian Thomas Jr. crushed his under for me. So.
Yeah, there you go. Good morning, Caesar. Glad to see you in the chat. I'll be interested to see, Josh. I'm not going to jinx the show, but I wonder how many questions we're going to get because you and I talked about this in the pregame. The waiver wire kind of sucks this week, but you still need to replace some players. There are 2 teams on bye. Before we get into that, if you like the videos we're putting out, hit the like button. Drop in the comments if you have some waiver wire questions, if you got burned by Amari DiMercato last week and some of the other the hot waiver wire options. Hit that subscribe button. We go live every Monday, twice every Tuesday, every Wednesday, every Thursday, and every Saturday. And plus, we do a non-live DFS video on Fridays. We're here for you a lot. If you hit that subscribe button, you will never miss a video. If you happen to be listening on Apple or Spotify, hit that follow button. If you want to keep talking fantasy football once this show ends at about 12:30, we do have a completely free Discord that we invite you to join. We do a lot of DFS stuff, a lot of everything else in the Discord. And Josh, before we get started on today, why don't you go ahead and let them know about our partnership with Trophy Smack?
Absolutely. The fantasy football season is here, and Trophy Smack is where you want to get all of your rewards. They have trophies, rings, championship belts, all of it designed to tell your league mates who the real champion is. Hit the link in the description of this podcast and check out some of the swag that you can get so you can gloat and lord your accomplishments over your league mates. All of it's available at trophysmack.com/club fantasy.
I said not a lot of questions. The chat said bet. Let's get into NFL news and notes, and then we'll get into your questions, guys. Josh, again, not a terribly eventful week. I only really have 2 player notes when it comes to news and notes. The most important and the one I think we're going to talk about a lot today, Omarion Hampton going to the IR. Josh, I know it was an ankle injury. I didn't see what the diagnosis was. Did you catch that?
I would assume, and again, I'm with you. I haven't actually seen either. If they're putting him on IR for 4 weeks, I would assume it's a high ankle sprain. It's got to be. That's the only reason that it would matter for an IR stint.
Exactly. One diagnosis I did see, torn ACL for Antonio Gibson. He's done for the year. Maybe Travian Henderson can now be relevant. This is the perfect show to bring up this news because I yelled at the chat, I think 3 weeks ago, that the Bengals would not be making a change at quarterback. Well, the Bengals are now evaluating their options at quarterback after their 3rd consecutive loss with Jake Browning. So not great there.
Third time's a charm, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then Jonathan Gannon publicly and privately apologizes to Amari DiMercato after the sideline blow up that I was completely ignorant to yesterday. Josh, again, not a ton to talk about here. I mean, we know the Hampton fallout. I think the Bengals fallout might be the most interesting fallout about this, because do they go get a guy like Jameis, who the Giants have to be willing to part with?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting how the Giants decide what they want to do at quarterback, because clearly Jackson Dart is their future. So at this point, it becomes Russ was the plug in, he was the stopgap. Now you don't need said stopgap. You need an actual backup. Who really fits that role better, Russ or Jameis, right? It's Jameis. So at that point, to me, it seems like Russ should be the one that might want to move on. But how many teams are looking at Russell Wilson's first 3 games and saying, that's a quarterback that I want starting for me?
Absolutely.
Like, he's a roller coaster. 1 week, he puts up 450 yards against one of the worst defenses in the NFL. The next week, against the bad defense, he throws for 150. So it's like, you never know what you're getting with Russ. And some of these teams that need a quarterback, they're probably in pretty bad shape too. So you're likely going to get a very bad Russell Wilson as well. So then it becomes, is he really that good of an option for you?
To me, doesn't it make more sense to get somebody who is moderately familiar with this system? And the 2 guys that come to mind for me, Kirk Cousins, through, if you go all the way down the Sean McVay tree, should be moderately familiar with this system. And I'm, of course, drawing a blank. Jimmy Garoppolo from the Rams, if they're willing to move on from him. Those are the 2 guys.
With Stafford's back issues, why would the Rams want to part with their backup, right? When it comes to Kirk Cousins, you have to consider the contract. And the Bengals right now are shelling out so much money for an IR-based Joe Burrow, and they are 70+ million for their star wide receivers they're not getting the ball to.
They're also notoriously the cheapest team in football, who don't even own the $50,000 John Deere to carry Joe Burrow to the back. They had to carry him by hand. I don't know that they're going to be willing to go and pay.
Exactly. And the Falcons have been pretty adamant about, if you're trading for Kirk Cousins, you're taking that salary.
Yeah.
So, they're not going to take on that salary.
Yep. Guys, I'm going to make you make one more round on the questions. It just makes more sense to at least get the top 5 waivers in, and then we'll jump to audience questions. So let's go ahead and get in my top 5 waivers. Article dropped this morning on clubfantasyffl.com. I'm going to talk about my top 5. Last week was not a very great week. We did the article before the Trey Benson news came out. Otherwise, I would have been roped into the Amari DiMercato. But honestly, none of the guys from last week really popped off. This week, I kind of like it. But Josh, I started off with a weird one. So for my number 1 waiver this week, it is Kimani Vidal. And that's just because of the situation with the Chargers. I'll explain in a moment why I like Vidal better than Hassan Haskins. Romeo Doubs is my number 2. Michael Carter is my number 3, as he looks to have the job there in Arizona. Darren Waller is my number 4. And to be perfectly honest, Josh, I said this to you before the show. If I was ranking these by the best player available on waivers, Darren Waller should have been the cover guy, plain and simple. Maybe Romeo Doubs, but probably Darren Waller. I need to go with what people need, and we always need running backs, so that's why Kimani Vidal got the cover. And then I like Torrey Horton a lot. I know you've been on the Torrey Horton train. This is more of a deep league ad, but I wanted to mention Torrey Horton, so he made the article. But Josh, with Vidal, I kind of state this in the article. You're just not going to let a running back sit on waivers who's going to have the type of role. The Chargers running back role is a valuable role. And then more importantly, Vidal, between these 2, Haskins and Vidal, assuming they don't bring anybody big in, Vidal is the better pass catcher. We saw some playing time out of Vidal last season. Unfortunately, his best game was his first game. Hopefully that's not going to be the situation here. We're likely stuck with this guy for 4 weeks. I'm not going to let a guy, especially going into a bye week like hell that we're going to see over these next 4 weeks, I'm not going to let him sit on waivers. I found it hilarious. Obviously, he was on the practice squad last week. He is 100% available on ESPN and Sleeper. Chances are Kimani Vidal is out there if you are in running back hell, specifically if you lost Omarion Hampton. I can't paint you some picture of what Kimani Vidal is going to be. He is not very efficient in his first year in the league. However, this does appear to be a better Chargers offense. He's not Omarion Hampton, but I do think he could be at least viable, Josh, as an RB2 or a flex during this bye week hell that we're about to be.
Yeah, I would put him more in like the RB3, RB4 range if we're ranking, top 36, top 48, that kind of thing. Yeah, because you said it. He's not very efficient. He's a smaller back. He's got some really good college tape, but he played at Troy. Let's be real here. So, that's why he fell to the 6th round. There were a lot of people within the dynasty community that were really high on this guy pre-draft, and then he lands with the draft capital, and they stuck to their priors, and then they paid for it. That's what you're getting with Kimani Vidal. He could be good. He could not be good. The fact of the matter is this Chargers offensive line has taken an absolute hit, and that's why they got boat raced against the Commanders. Like the Commanders basically just did whatever the fuck they wanted to. But Kimani Vidal makes so much more sense from a waiver priority perspective than Hassan Haskins, simply because of the state of the Chargers offense right now. This team is throwing more than any Greg Roman team ever has.
Yep.
Straight up. They're going 3 wide. They're utilizing Oronde Gadsden. They're throwing to the running backs more. So who's going to be catching those passes? Kimani Vidal fits that role so much better than Hassan Haskins. With the state of their line, if they don't have a quality running game, they're likely going to be trailing more. So if you're trailing more, you don't need a bruising 2-down back that can get 3 yards in the middle of the field. You need a guy that can catch a pass and get upfield for 8, 9, 10 plus yards. That is the Kimani Vidal role. That's why we should be prioritizing Vidal over Haskins.
Yep. And I'll before we move on to your guy, Josh, I'll just end it with this. This is a situation that reminds me a lot of the Arizona situation, in that Hassan Haskins has been on the roster because he plays special teams. They don't need and maybe don't want him to be the running back. Kimani Vidal is the practice squad guy, and he is brought up, and he's been with this team for 2 years now, 3 years now. He is brought up to be the running back now that the cupboard is bare. And I think Vidal is the Michael Carter in this situation, not the Amari DiMercado, is at least what I'm hoping is what's going to happen here. But Josh, I had a feeling when I listed this guy, and again, I told you he should probably be the number 1 ranked this week, but I had a feeling when I listed this guy, you would want to talk about him because you have been all in, honestly, since last week. You were bought in pretty quickly based on the Tyreek Hill injury.
Yeah, and that's what it boils down to. This team has no weapons. And let me rephrase that. They have weapons, but they don't have differing weapons, because when you look at how this team was built, it was built on small players who run fast. Tyreek Hill is only 5'10". Achane, 5'9", 191. Waddle, 5'10", 185. Now you bring in a Darren Waller to basically complement this group. He's 6'6", 238.
He is 2 of those players.
Yeah, exactly. He's those 2 on stilts. So, and he can stretch the field. He can be a red zone weapon. He can do all of the things that this group needs to do. And he's offering a different value point. Yes, he missed all of training camp. He missed all of last year, retired, recovering from whatever it was, the heartbreak from Kelsey Plum, a failed rap career, whatever you want to call it, right? Last 2 weeks, 28% snaps, 58% snaps in week 5. But he has 3 touchdowns in 2 weeks.
Yep.
He has a very tough matchup this week against the Chargers. The Chargers shut down tight end. So I'm not rushing to start him or even stream him this week against Derwin James and the Chargers defense. But again, we've seen this Chargers offensive line is not great. The Dolphins actually do generate a pretty decent pass rush. And so it's going to be interesting. Go ahead, Ryan.
The one thing I find interesting, though, I got to see a lot of that game on Red Zone this past week. Tua isn't waiting for Waller to be open. He is throwing deadly passes to him that are going to end up in picks most times. But what I mean by that is, even if James has Waller locked, that doesn't necessarily mean he's not going to see volume this week.
Yeah, he's still going to see targets. I mean, like I said, 5 catches, 78 yards, and a touchdown this past week. All of it was in the first half.
Yep.
Like they just couldn't really get much going in the second half. But they're going to target him early again, and they're going to make the Chargers defense say, cover one of our best guys, basically. Yeah. How are you going to be able to do that effectively? So, without Khalil Mack, the Chargers aren't generating much of a pass rush either, which truthfully shouldn't be much of a problem against a bad Dolphins offensive line. But Tua gets rid of the ball quickly. That's always been his MO.
Yeah.
And he picks his spots. He's all about timing. He expects his guys to get to the point where they need to get to catch the football.
Yeah.
And if you're a defender, that's what you have to bank on. Again, he's 6'6". You can throw the ball 7 feet high. Waller has the ability to come down with it over defenders. So it's just a matter of the timing. Can the pass rush disrupt that timing? He's going to see volume. Again, I don't know that he's much of a streamer for me this week, but he 1,000% needs to be rostered because I think he's a top 8 tight end rest of season.
Yeah, and even this week when I was doing my initial run of rankings, I still made him the tight end 8 when you look at some of the other matchups. Not everybody has great matchups this week on top of all of that. I'm going to throw Marvin up just because he happens to ask. If you're giving up season-long priority, Josh, I'm probably not, because Vidal was the lead of the show. If you're giving up season-long number 1 priority, I'm probably not going to go on Kimani Vidal. I'll wait. If I'm only giving up weekly priority, if you only have priority this week and it reshuffles next week, then I would spend it on Vidal is how I would take that. So
yeah, I would agree 100%. And for those that maybe are unfamiliar with this setting, basically you'll have 3 different types of waivers. You have FAAB, which is free agent acquisition budget, where everybody gets a certain amount to begin the season. And it's basically like a bidding war for your free agent ads. So your 1-loss record means nothing. It's all about how much money are you willing to spend to acquire that player. It's monopoly money, basically.
Yeah.
Then you have what are called rolling waivers, where it basically judges how many transactions that you are making. If you're consistently churning out waiver ads, you're rarely ever going to be number 1, no matter how bad your record is.
Yep.
But then you also have inverse order of standings waiver priority.
So
where
every
week it changes based on whoever is the worst team to the best team, right? So Marvin, when you're asking about you have number 1, that's what we're trying to find out, whether it's because you had the, I go back.
Well, that's always how it works. You always go back to the line you use it. But
correct.
The question is, if you don't use it this week, do you still have it next week? That is the question. And if the answer is yes, I would not use that on Kimani Vidal.
Correct.
Let's get into the questions, guys, just real quick. The article is available on clubfantasyffl.com. Top 5 this week: Kimani Vidal, Romeo Doubs, Michael Carter, Darren Waller, Torrey Horton. If you're new to the show, I think I already see some new names, and Marvin says he does have it next week. Do not blow it on Vidal. Just not worth it. Either, yeah. He's a 4-week rental, and he's still Kimani Vidal. Let's be perfectly clear. But anyway, if you're a lot of new names, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We answer every question. We try to do it in between segments, and that time is now, Josh. Lots of Mason Taylor questions I'm noticing already.
Good, bring them.
Yeah, Tyler Sperry, Jake Tongas, or Mason Taylor. I did read, though eligible, George Kittle is a long shot for week 6. Expect him week 7.
Yeah, I think they said week 7 for Tongas, which, again, he's a rental, much like we're talking about with Kimani Vidal. Taylor has rest of season value. The target 100%. Volume was there this past week. And this team is straight up bad. And we talked about this in the beginning, over the summer when we were doing the previews. Once Taylor was drafted by the Jets, I was pretty much on this hype train, and I said Taylor has the opportunity to be the 2nd highest target earner on this team. They're not going to throw a ton, but when they do, their target tree is this. It's Wilson, and then it's Hall and Taylor. That's it, because they have no wide receivers outside of Garrett Wilson.
And Mason Taylor does get Denver this week, and it is I'm going to say Europe game, because I don't know if it's London or if it's Germany.
I believe it's London this week.
Okay, it's still London again. But Denver is great against wide receivers, which could actually open things up for Mason Taylor a little bit more, Josh.
But again, this team is going to get blown out. Well, so what do they do? They play hero ball in the 4th quarter. Defenses play prevent. It doesn't matter how good, quote unquote, a defense is against the player. They're going to give up chunk yards.
Yep.
So even at that point, Taylor becomes viable because he's going to see targets. No question. So yeah, if you're prioritizing one of these two on waivers, 100% it's Taylor and it's not close. I would even go so far as to say start Taylor this week over Tongas if you absolutely need one.
And he is ahead of him in my rankings. Let's keep it going on Mason Taylor. Caesar, non-tight end premium. He has first waiver priority. He did say it's traditional waivers. He does not lose it, I think, next week. So he would keep it. Would we use that on Mason Taylor when he already has Tyler Warren plus George Kittle? But he is trying to trade Kittle. Vidal is already on waivers. Certainly in Dynasty, I'm not blowing first waiver on Kimani Vidal. I think Mason Taylor, if you're in a situation where you're trying to move Kittle and you can have Warren and Taylor, I do think it's worth it.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, if you're trying to move Kittle, it's because A, it's Dynasty, and B, he's old. So now you're going into future seasons with two guys that actually have legitimate roles within their offense. They have targets coming their way. Those are the types of assets at the tight end position that you want in Dynasty. So, 100%. I'm absolutely okay with this. Put the waiver claim in on Taylor over Vidal, 100%.
There you go. Drop Juwan Johnson? I don't think I'm going quite that far yet.
Yeah, I mentioned this on Monday's show. I think this is a classic overreaction because nobody had Juwan Johnson as a top-end tight end. So they look at 1 week where he has low target volume and they said, oh, you suck, so that's it. Yeah. Tyler, don't get overreacting here. This was a game script game, right? The Saints are a bad football team. They just happen to play an even worse football team. So that's why Juwan Johnson kind of got phased out in this scenario here, because they didn't need to throw the football a ton. But Juwan Johnson is one of their target earners. The Taysom Hill, Foster Moreau thing coming back, that's not going to affect Juwan Johnson's target volume. Taysom Hill is a gadget player. So he's not lining up at tight end and taking away valuable targets from Juwan Johnson. Foster Moreau is a blocking tight end. He's a guy that they might target in the red zone here and there, but you're talking at best maybe 3 targets a game. Juwan Johnson is a volume tight end for them. Yes, you're going to have some games where he only has 3 or 4 targets. It happens to literally every tight end because it's a tight end. So I'm not going through and overreacting on Juwan Johnson yet.
Yep. I'm going to quickly throw up Smitty, who says he dropped Juwan for Waller. If that's your only drop, I'm fine with that. Waller is the better play between these two.
Correct.
All right. Joseph Navarro, even if healthy, are we dropping Strange for Mason Taylor? That's a pretty easy yes for me. Strange is a jag, plain and simple, and no pun intended with the TB plays for.
Yeah, 100%. Strange is a streamer, honestly. I mean, you can probably put Mason Taylor in that category, but again, like when you're looking at hierarchy of targets on an offense, like I'm going to go with Taylor here.
Yep. Joe Ortiz. Dropping Chase Brown for Vidal, that is not a move I'm willing to make. Vidal's ceiling is probably still Chase Brown's floor. Right now, Chase Brown is the RB32, and I have to think the Bengals are going to slowly start to get shit back together, but 2.5 yards of carry ain't great. 18 catches does help, though.
Yeah, Joe, don't overreact, buddy. Don't.
Joe's been wanting to kill Chase Brown for a few weeks now. I don't even
well, let's be honest. We all do. The whole Bengals offense sucks. But no, you're not dropping him for Kimani Vidal. No.
Charlene, how about that goose egg from Jalen Tolbert? We're going to talk about Ryan Flournoy a little bit later on in the show, but definitely a weird one. And then, honestly, you never knew what you were going to get from these secondary receivers from Dallas. It looks like, Josh, very similar to the Jets, just with better quarterback play. This is the George Pickens, Jake Ferguson show until CeeDee Lamb is back.
Yeah, 100%. And Charlene, I feel your pain. We're both in Jen Piatenti's Shark Bets group chat, and we were all on the Tolbert train, and Flournoy comes out and over 100 yards, and we're just like, and I even commented, I was like, did Tolbert die before game time and nobody told us? Like, what's going on here? No, that was rough, simply because Tolbert had a very prominent role on this team last year. And this just goes to show that Pickens replaced Tolbert. That was his spot. And they 100%. Said, Pickens, that's yours. CeeDee Lamb goes out, somebody else steps into that role. And I've talked about this on numerous occasions with different teams. This is how teams operate. It's not one person just moves up. It's, well, if the person that was in front of them doesn't get hurt, they're stuck. So that seems to be Tolbert. Pickens is healthy. Pickens is the Tolbert role. Everybody else is playing for the CeeDee Lamb role right now.
There you go. Millie says he's going all in on Bill. If he can't get him, are any other running backs just as valuable? Because right now he is not happy with Kenneth Walker, Chase Brown, Henry, Jalen Warren. If we're talking about waivers, I doubt there's a more valuable running back than anybody you have on your bench right now, and that's Kimani Vidal included. Bill would be nice, but Josh, even honestly looking at this team, I would probably not start Bill over K9 or Henry. Like, you're just kind of hoping that Henry does what he's supposed to do.
Yeah, somebody's going to have to take the bullet and come out and say, I am benching Derrick Henry this week, and that's when he blows up. So, Millie, exactly. I honor your tribute if that's going to be you.
Yeah, get Bill in there. But waiver running backs, Josh, you actually said this best. Josh was looking at the 8-team waiver running backs, and they're awful. If you can't find an RB in 8-team, we're all screwed.
Yeah, 100%. Like, you're not going to be able to find him in 10, 12, or 14 for that matter. So, yeah, if JCM is out there for you, like, go get him, 100%.
Yeah, he does bring up Vidal and Haskins are out there. Go get Vidal, but you're not going to start him over anybody. He says he's behind the Chargers fan on his waiver order. Anyway, Romeo Doubs or Devonta Smith, Josh, I imagine this is a start-sit question for the week. I will remind everybody, Tuesday is mad early for start-sit questions. We are going to answer them. We do a lot of start-sit questions tomorrow night on our Wednesday show, but Saturday is when we're going to have the best information from 11 to 12:30, basically. All start-sit questions. It's all we do for the show. Josh, your Eagles have the Giants this week.
Thursday. So
on Thursday, and then Romeo Doubs has the Bengals coming out of a bye. I think I'm going Romeo Doubs here.
I'm still sticking with Devonta Smith.
Sticking with your guy.
Yeah, there's two issues here, and it's really one for each team. The Eagles 100% need to get Saquon Barkley going, right? And if Barkley's going, the passing game's probably going to suffer. Barkley came out on the injury report today.
Ooh.
And it's more than just like a veteran rest day. So obviously it's his former team. They're going to feature Saquon a lot if he plays. But this is an opportunity to get the whole offense right. Not just the passing game, not just the running game, literally everybody.
Yeah.
With Doubs, I like Doubs, and I think he's somebody that 100% needs to be rostered. The Packers like to play ring around the rosy when it comes to, their wide receivers,
who they're going to throw to,
who they're going to throw to in a given week. So, Doubs is very much a startable asset. The same thing with Devonta Smith. But how many times is Romeo Doubs going 8 for 100? It's rarely in the cards.
Yeah,
and I feel like that everybody's going to look at, well, Doubs had 3 touchdowns the last time he played. So, of course I'm going to start him. That's not always the case because you're not going to get 3 touchdowns again. Let's be honest here.
It could also be a Tucker Kraft or Josh Jacobs game, which is,
and that's the other side of it, right? Like, it's the Bengals. They suck. Anybody could go off. This could be the Matthew Golden breakout week, right? Yeah. And now we're like, well, shit, why did I start Romeo Doubs? So that's the thing is, like, the target tree in Philly is so much more condensed that, to me, Devonta Smith offers both the upside, but also the safer play option there.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Just trying to star questions here. There we go. Thanks, Josh. Shout out George. Victory Tuesday. He said after 0-3, he's now 2-3. That's the dream, man. That's why you keep doing it.
Hey, I have this going in one of my leagues, our dynasty league, the non discriminators versus ages. Yeah. Like, I started 0-3, and I'm like, fuck, maybe I should start looking to sell off some of these players. And I've won my last 2, and I'm going through and I'm looking at the standings. I've had most points scored against me. I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense. That's why I started 0-3.
Yeah.
I'm 4th in points scored. I'm like, all right, I'm in good shape here. We got this.
Yeah,
so shout out, George.
Our Ballers Dynasty League, Josh, I'm in a similar situation. I started 0-3. I'm now 2-3.
Yeah, it's because you played my trash-ass fucking team this week.
I have no running backs. And the question is, do I just let the suck happen or do I buy running backs? And Josh knows where I lean in situations like that. George does have a waiver question. Calvin Ridley and Isaiah Bond are both out there. Anyone worth dropping FAAB on? I still want Calvin Ridley on my team. We've teased him as a drop. There's quite a few Isaiah Bond
very much against that, by the way.
You have. You absolutely have. We quite a few Isaiah Bond questions. I didn't honestly, did he do anything this week? I'm looking up the numbers right now.
Saw some targets. I know he had an end zone target. I mean,
7 targets.
It's the rookie on rookie connection, right?
Yeah.
But again, he's going to fall back to earth when Cedric Tillman comes back, right?
Yeah.
So if you're asking me which one I want rest of season, it's definitely Ridley because Bond is going to take a back seat once Tillman comes back. Maybe they decide to move off of Jerry Jeudy because Homeboy's not doing anything and he's making too much money, and they just ride with Tillman and Bond. And if that's the case, then yeah, I think Bond has some value. But I think the real passing game pieces that I want on the Browns right now are the tight ends. It's less about the wide receiver because Dylan Gabriel's really not looking down the field.
No.
And that's where Bond does the most damage. Like,
yeah.
And again, like, it was a tough matchup. It was against the Vikings. And I said this all week. And for what it was, Dylan Gabriel looked great, mind you.
Yeah.
Any other game, he probably wins, to be quite honest. But he played well, operated the offense extremely well. The targets were definitely there with Bond, and I think he's somebody that definitely should be rostered as
deeper leagues, yeah.
One of those deeper leagues, maybe 12, 14 team, but I'm not rushing to get him in an 8 or a 10 team.
There you go. And then is there any better top 5 running back to top 15 running back to target than Breece Hall? I just did a quick glance, Josh. The only 2 I would maybe put in the conversation are Kyron Williams and then to a lesser extent, Derrick Henry. I think Breece is probably your easiest buy of the bunch, though I do think Kyron Williams, I don't know. Obviously, he had a great Thursday, but I do feel like people were ready to move on for a little bit there. So
yeah, but that's the problem is that you pay for the most recent game, now. Right? Like, yeah. That's why the whole, sell high, buy low terms come from. So,
yep.
I don't know if there's a better top 15 option, but I mean, if you can go and get Breece, like, just sell the fact that he's on a shitty team and be like, look, you want to get rid of him. Like,
yeah, when you look at the other guys, the only other top 15 guy who I think you're even able to buy, Javonte Williams, maybe Travis Etienne, but I don't think Travis Etienne is going to be a easy sell on people right now either. So
yeah.
Marvin, going back to his first waiver priority, keeping in mind he will lose it, is Mason Taylor worth it? To me, Josh, this comes down to who's your current tight end. Marvin, I know you've been waiting a while on an answer at this. If you're still in the chat, I'll try to get you in there. But I think, Josh, it matters who your tight end is. I am steadfastly against using first priority on tight ends. If you're desperate, I think there are worse things you could do than spend it on Mason Taylor.
Yeah, there's definitely worse ways to spend a number one. Yeah, I don't usually blow waiver priority on tight ends unless like it's a bye week and I'm desperate, or I literally just like if it was week 1 heading into week 2 and I just lost George Kittle, then yeah, I'll probably blow first priority on a tight end at that point, right?
Yep.
But the way that leagues are going, and we've heard this not just from our audience, but also what we're experiencing, Ryan, people are hoarding tight ends. Like 100%. They're rostering 2, sometimes 3 tight ends.
Defenses are being hoarded.
I feel like they're listening too much to Kelly Singh right now because all these tight ends, like, I can't stream the position anymore and it sucks.
Yeah.
So, shout out Kelly. Your love for tight ends is making the rounds.
Destroying fantasy football.
Yeah, right. For me, it all just boils down to who your top option is.
Yeah, Marvin. If you're still out there, Marvin, drop your top option in the chat. Marcus, drop Kamara for Bill. Drop A. Maynor for Doubs. I'm okay with A. Maynor for Doubs. You can certainly trade Kamara before dropping him. So do something like that first. I understand you have to make a decision tonight. Don't get Doubs. Drop A. Maynor for Bill. And that's the way I would do it.
Yeah, that's the way that I would do it. A. Maynor took a little bit of a step back. I still think that, he's somebody that should be rostered.
He's a stash if you can afford it.
But, they finally got Calvin Ridley going, right? Like, that was a game that he 100% needed to have. Hopefully that builds up the confidence of the offense. Cam Ward hasn't been afraid to sling it. They've just been dealing with a lot of injuries. Their star left tackle, JC Latham's out. And obviously when you don't have your blindside protector, that weighs on your confidence and your ability to get rid of the football quicker. So, there's a lot to be desired about that Titans offense. So, I would be okay being like, you know what, if I have to cut somebody from a bad offense, I'm going to do it.
There you go. Josh, let's knock out a segment real quick, guys. We are going to answer every question. We are about 14 minutes behind on questions right now, so I see all of them. They will all make the screen. We're just not getting them answered right now, so we can do a little bit of the show sheet. Josh, it's waiting in the kiddie pool. You play in a specific 8-team league just for research for this show. Talk to us a little bit about what you got going on out there.
Yeah, so I usually give about 6 to 8 picks, guys mainly that we can stream on a weekly basis because when you're playing in these shallower leagues, you have an opportunity to just kind of plug and play and not be like, all right, I need this person the rest of the season kind of thing, because there are great players on waivers. Running back position, not so much, which we've covered. So it's a little bone dry at running back, but there's definitely good quarterbacks and wide receivers and tight ends out there. I hit on 4 of my 8 last week. Jared Goff, Jalen Waddle, Diggs, Kincaid, all out there, all did great. Mind you, 16 tight ends scored over 10 fantasy points last week.
Wow.
That is wild. Kincaid scored 16 and was only the tight end 9. That doesn't happen most weeks.
Definitely not what we've seen the last 3 years.
Yeah, but still, you got 16 points from a tight end. You're happy about it. But this week, a couple of quarterbacks that I like. Jordan Love versus Cincinnati. Look, the Bengals are trash. You're going to start good players against them. Jordan Love is a good player. He should put up some good points. And then Caleb Williams at Washington. Washington's defense has been a little hit or miss. They still don't have a great pass rush, but Caleb Williams has looked the part recently.
Absolutely.
And he's definitely got the weapons. If you've got Romeo Doubs to throw to, you're sitting pretty. So I like Caleb Williams. I think he should at least have, your 250, 2 touchdown, which is a good, streaming stat line. At the wide receiver position, Stephon Diggs, 2 weeks in a row. And I called the revenge game breakout, and Joe Zolo gave me a bunch of shit for it. Oh, he's not Steve Smith. That died with Steve Smith, blah, blah, blah. Everybody forgot how petty Stephon Diggs is.
I was going to say,
said it after the game. This was personal.
Why are we acting like Diggs ain't of the same cloth?
That's what I'm saying, right? 10 for 140. And by the way, he gets the Saints this week. Kool-Aid McKinstry is not having 2 interceptions this week. And then I do like the Titans wide receiver duo, Ridley and A.M. Maynard this week against Las Vegas. That defense is awful. They actually... I like to give the Dallas Cowboys a lot of shit. They might be the worst defense in the league. I think the Raiders are giving them a run for their money. They're bad.
And Baltimore's right there as well.
Yeah, I know it's a road game for Ward, and that's going to be a loud stadium. But if there is a get-right game for this Titans offense, especially coming after, the late game heroics and getting that win in Arizona, this could be the week. And Calvin Ridley leaning on the veteran to be able to lift up that offense and, being able to throw to A.M. Maynard, who, again, not far from where he went to school in Stanford. So he'll have some family in the audience. So I like both of those guys this week. And then at tight end, it's a little bleak, but Dallas Goedert, 4 touchdowns in the last 3 weeks. Doesn't have a ton of volume, but he's scoring touchdowns and he's getting opportunities in the red zone. This is still a good offense despite the Eagles' hiccups and inconsistencies. The Giants' defense, not great. Pass rush is good. Jalen Hurts knows how to buy time, and he gets rid of the ball quickly in the red zone, and they're looking for Goddard. I was making a joke with some of my Philly friends that every route that Goddard runs is literally the same, and he still scores every single time. Just get him in there. He does well against the Giants anyway. He has, I think, 3 of his last 6. He's been a top 9 option at tight end. So
Ivan the Great giving you a geography lesson says Stanford is not close to Vegas.
But you know what, though? How many Raiders fans still come from Oakland all the time to Las Vegas?
It's closer than Tennessee.
It's a quick flight. It's a quick flight, Ivan. Just saying. And yes, I know it's not close, but when you're talking about flying in a plane, it's close. I've lived in Las Vegas. I know.
I'll be honest, I didn't know it wasn't close. I know there are places in California that are like next door to Vegas. I just don't know what's close and what's not close. So, Ivan, you help me. I'm going to let Marvin jump the line real quick because we are halfway through his question. He has Njoku, Strange, and Tongas as his tight ends. Again, this is about giving up first waiver priority. Josh, if I have David Njoku, I'm not giving up first waiver priority for Mason Taylor. I'm going to wait and play the lottery and see what happens later on.
Yeah. I mean, if you have Njoku, I think you're fine.
I'm fine with cutting Strange and
100%.
Tongas and Bond if you need to for this roster mobility you're looking for. That's fine. But there's probably someone better out there for first priority, or wait until after waivers and don't blow your first priority. If you save it.
Yeah. I mean, having Judy and Myers and even Ridley to an extent, like that's a lot of the reason why you're sitting at 2 and 3. And you know what? I've been there. I have a lot of Calvin Ridley on my teams. I was very high on him coming into this season. Definitely don't have any Cherry Judy.
Yeah.
Thank God on that one. But those are guys that I'm willing to move off of if need be. But here's the thing: putting first priority on a tight end, you're not starting a tight end in the flex.
Exactly.
So that's the limitations there. You're not going to move Njoku out of your starting tight end spot.
We love Njoku with Gabriel.
Yeah, until the bye week comes around. So there's not a big reason to go out and spend that priority there. You need to be able to, you're looking for roster mobility, roster flexibility. You need running backs and wide receivers. So that's where you spend your waiver priority.
There we go.
And we got a super chat in.
Super chat. Lil Tay the Rock knows the rules around here. There's a long wait for questions right now. 25 deep, the most we've ever seen on this show. Lil Tay jumps the line with his $5 donation. We appreciate it, buddy. Should he trade Jamison Williams or Javonte Williams?
I'm guessing it's Javonte Williams.
Javonte Williams for Jay Jettis. The guy is trying to sell high because JJ McCarthy is coming back. RBs are Pacheco, Hunt, Javonte Williams, and has Bill. So obviously he's in running back hell as well. But the fact of the matter is this, Josh, I would rather have Justin Jefferson and deal with the running back problem.
Yep. That's the long and short of it. Now, this is what I will say, Tay. Running back is so incredibly thin,
very thin,
that you are going to be playing musical chairs. I'm doing it in a couple leagues, and I'm going to tell you what, it is not fun. It's a headache, but it's Justin Jefferson. He gives you such a higher floor in a given week than Javonte Williams.
Yep.
Which is saying a lot because Williams has, I think, a 3-touchdown game and a 2-touchdown game this year. But I mean, look, if it's standard, I'm keeping Williams. If it's PPR, I'm going and I'm getting Jefferson. If you need to, I don't know what your wide receivers look like because I think that also plays into this as well. Yeah. Because maybe then you can move one of those wide receivers to go get another running back.
If you're sitting with a Buka and a Dunze, I'm probably not. Well, actually, I'm still making this trade because I think you could turn around and flip one of those wide receivers for a way better back than Javonte Williams.
Yeah, and I think that might be the case here.
Yeah, I love that. All right. Let's try to get some of this in. First of all, Obese Monkey, first win of the season, 1-4. You love to hear it. And again, 1-4 in most of my leagues, Josh, not out of the playoffs right now.
No, 100%.
Did pull off a trade, gave up Monty and Barkley for Hampton and Taylor. Even with Hampton on IR, I love this trade.
Yeah, I mean, Taylor right now is the RB1. Like, he's absolutely balling. I'm fine with that. Monty's going to have a lot of hit or miss games. Barkley's eventually going to get going. You're going to get Hampton back. Obviously, that hurts a little bit for the next month, but Jonathan Taylor's carrying football teams right now.
Yeah. Maddie Randoms has been lamenting this for 72 hours now, I'm pretty sure. Drop Shaheed for Slayton. Here's my thing. If not for the Slayton injury, I'm good with this. Don't get freaked out by Shaheed having one good game. This is what
I was going to say. He's been trash all season.
Yeah.
That's a reason why you dropped him.
Maddie, mainly because I'm probably the one who talked you into signing Darius Slayton. I'm going to keep talking you off of this ledge, though I will say, if Shaheed's still out there in waivers, maybe you flip this transaction.
Well, but this is the thing. This is the way that I look at it. Like, yes, you dropped Shaheed for Slayton. Would you have started Shaheed this week knowing what he gave you the first 4 weeks of the season? No, exactly. So it wouldn't have mattered whether you dropped him or not. Slayton's going to have much bigger role in this offense for the rest of the season. Shaheed is still a one-hit wonder. That has been his MO since he's come into the league. So don't freak out. It sucks, sure. But I'd wager, Maddie, that you were not starting Shaheed this week regardless.
Yeah. You started Slayton.
So you wouldn't have benefited from it anyway.
Yeah, exactly. How much do we trust Kittle when he comes back? Implicitly. Like George Kittle, Brock Purdy, this offense, I almost forgot the name. But anyway, this offense, I trust George Kittle with my life. He is my starting tight end from now till the end of the world once he comes back. No questions about it.
Yep. I'm with you on that one. Kittle's your starter. Another super chat, Ryan.
Oh, thank you. Let me scroll. Judkins on the bench because of Kyron. First of all, thank you very much, Killer Moth. I always want to make sure you guys know we appreciate the hell out of you guys. Judkins on the bench because he has Kyron and Hall. Wide receivers are QJ, JSN, Garrett Wilson. Should he accept a trade for Sutton, knowing he has Bo Nix? I'm not making this trade. I don't care if he's on your bench. Running back depth more important to me than wide receiver depth, and you have JSN and Garrett Wilson. You do not need Cortland Sutton.
Yeah, you definitely don't need Sutton. He's another, kind of hit or miss wide receiver. He'll likely end up in the top 24 conversation by season's end, but running back depth is so incredibly important. And I think when you're considering, and Ryan, we talk about this all the time, when you're considering a trade where equal parts, they're equal, right? Like they're very similar, what you're going to get on a weekly basis, rest of the season, all that kind of stuff. You favor the running back because they're more scarce. Yeah. So don't don't move off of Judkins yet. Yes, he has some limitations. They're not really throwing him the football. He's in a bad offense, but Judkins is getting volume, and that's what we all saw from him in this offense once he took over the role, once he got through all the, the legal issues, etc. So,
yep.
Yeah, no, you've got guys that can carry your team. JSN's a true one. Garrett Wilson's really, he's operating like a top 5, but I would still put him in the lower wide receiver 1 conversation just out of consistency purposes. But QJ is acting the part too. So, don't freak out because of one bad week for QJ. Like, he's going to be fine. You've got a great trio here. You don't need more depth at wide receiver. You need more depth at running back. So keep Judkins.
Always. Yep. All right. Back to Marvin. We talked about this a little bit. In a deep league, we do think Bond belongs on the end of someone's bench. You talked about the players you could drop. You mentioned Bond being one of them. I would drop Tongus long before I would drop Bond.
100%. And yes, Judy's been a bust. If you'd listen, Marvin, I feel like you're kind of new. Maybe you didn't catch a lot of our off-season stuff.
Josh hates
I have been on the Judy hate train for years, and I was telling people, do not buy into the end of season run with Jameis Winston, because you are going to get heartbroken. So I apologize that you didn't find us sooner, Marvin. But Jerry Jeudy, yes, bust. You can cut him and move on.
Bro, you don't got to give us $5 to thank us.
I love
appreciate that.
But
Hell
I
out of you, my
you,
friend.
Man.
Absolutely. Maddie Random says, drop his booty and his Tungus. I think they're both droppable depending on who's out there on waivers right now, Josh.
Yeah, I mean, I would prefer drop Tongus over booty. But I mean, right now, Stephon Diggs is taking over that offense. So
that's what I say. That is Stephon Diggs' offense.
Yeah, it's fair to say that Booty's not going to have the kind of role that maybe we saw for him in the first couple of weeks.
Yep. Marcus, Tedero McMillan, Michael Pittman, Drake London, Quentin Johnston, Wan'Dale Robinson, Romeo Doubs. We have to pick 3 and 2 flex. So 3 wide receivers and 2 flex, which is what? Bench one of these guys?
That's all 5 of them. Wait, no, that is bench 1. Okay.
Bench 1. I'm benching Wan'Dale Robinson.
Yep. That's Wan'Dale.
Yeah. Not a lot of debate on that one there, Marcus. Bench Wan'Dale Robinson. Wait and see what happens with that. You got the better players. Stashed Chargers, Bills, Lions defense. Who do you drop? I don't know who everybody's playing this week. Let me bring that up real quick. So let's see. Chargers have Miami. Bills have Atlanta, and the Lions have KC. Josh, these guys are right now, my rankings are early stages. They're my 10, 11, and 12. I have the Lions ahead. I have the Bills in 12th. I'm dropping the Bills. They also have a bye next week. The Bills do, making them a little bit of an easier drop. So
yeah, that's fair. Look, I'm not the defense guy that you are, Ryan. But when it comes to defenses, if one's sitting on a bye the following week, I can probably pick them up if I absolutely need them. So yeah, drop the one with the bye coming up.
Drop the Bills. Joseph Navarro, he knows we still like Jawan Johnson, but will we keep him over Mason Taylor? That's a great question. I don't know. I think I would go Taylor. Honestly, I'll go with the upside. It's tough. They're the same player.
They really are, yeah. I think they're the same player, truthfully. They're both in bad offenses. They're both very volume-based and very game script dependent, too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very matchup dependent. Yeah, it's very matchup dependent. If you have a roster spot at the end of your bench, grab Taylor.
Get both and play your own.
Get both and then play the one with the better matchup week in and week out. That's how I would do it. I mean, that seems to be the trend here with tight ends.
Every other
fantasy
team in the
right
league
now is stream the position. So make sure you got a couple that you can stream.
Love the Colts D this week. They got Arizona. They are a top 5 defense for me right now, Josh, and that's probably low.
I think the Colts defense in general is just looking great. I mean, them and the Jaguars have come out of nowhere. And, for all the jokes that we had about the AFC South heading into the season, they're making us all look pretty damn dumb.
Yeah. I'm going to throw it out here just because I haven't said it in a little bit. Very early for start sit questions. We are going to answer them. You will get better information from us tomorrow night on our Wednesday show, and even better information Saturday, where all we do is answer start sit questions. But Sage wants to know, would we start Pollard or Michael Carter? Tony Pollard has the Las Vegas Raiders. Michael Carter has the Indianapolis Colts. I think that
you're starting Pollard.
Yeah, you got to start Pollard against that defense.
Yeah, but also, too, for everybody that maybe has some start-sit questions, jump in our Discord. We answer literally everything in there as well. And I'll drop the link in the chats right now. So anybody is feel free to do that. It's free to the public. More than happy. We've got plenty of people from the Club Fantasy team in there that more than happy to answer questions throughout the week.
Yep. Josh, let's get 2 more questions in here. Let's knock out a segment, and then we're going to have to just fly through questions because this is the most it's been back up. He knows it's early right now, but Fields or Nix, and then Chase Brown or Michael Carter. Man, I really like that Colts defense, so I think I'm going to go against Michael Carter on a lot of start-sit questions this week, Josh.
Yeah, I'm the same way. It's very easy it's the same thing with Woody Marks, right? Like Woody Marks blows up and we're like, oh, it's a great matchup against Baltimore. And then he ghosts because guess what? It's a great matchup. So they're going to lean on their actual RB1, which is Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
With Michael Carter, yeah, he is the RB1, but he's not really the pass catcher. Like that was kind of DeMercado's role. So if they're trailing because they're playing a good defense, is Carter going to be the one on the field or is it DeMercado? The one thing we do know about Chase Brown, yes, that offense is a dumpster fire right now, but he's the guy that's on the field 80% of the time.
Yeah.
So I would just take your chances with Brown and just say a prayer, light some Hail Marys, whatever it is you got to do. And, hope that this is finally the week that he blows up so you can offload him. Yep. Kind of the way that I look at it.
Knicks has the Jets. They're playing each other. That Denver defense is no joke, and I think they can stifle Justin Fields. I'm going Bo Nix here because the Jets are Swiss cheese. So,
I mean, sure, until the fourth quarter when Fields turns into fucking Superman and ends up as a QB5. Like,
no lies.
You can't sit Justin Fields. I don't care how bad it is. He is the cheat code at quarterback.
Yep. He's not wrong. I'm still going to go.
He was like the QB 25 through 3 quarters. That's how bad he was. And then the fourth quarter comes and it's like, well, garbage time, baby. I'm QB1. Let's go. And that's the Jets offense. So,
yep. And if the Broncos start sitting people in that fourth quarter, it gets interesting. Kingsley, how concerned are we about the Bucky injury? He was able to swing a trade for Bucky and Teteroa McMillan as the main piece, hoping Irving can get healthy. Here's the thing, Josh. There was a lot of noise around the Bucky injury heading into this week, but they didn't IR him, and that tells me he's missing this week, and we're probably fine.
Yeah, I would say at most it's probably a 2-week injury. That'd be my guess. So maybe, even like you look at the early projections on like Sleeper or most other platforms, like they come in low end, like at 11 points.
Yeah.
Right. So like that's their way of saying we think he's going to play, but we're not sure. So don't get too cute early, like let it play out. Let's get more information kind of thing. So yeah, I'm not too worried about the injury. Like they're winning games anyway. Like Rachaad White outside of that final run and the 2 touchdowns did not look good.
Nope.
But he got valuable red zone carries. That's how he was able to make his day and provide fantasy upside for those that actually put him in the flex. So yeah, I'm not worried. Like when Bucky comes back, he's going to be the feature guy. Like he's a much better player than Rachaad White. He's way more efficient. Don't worry.
Yep. I'm going to quickly throw Millie up. I am on board with dropping Slayton for Bill or another running back. You drop mediocre wide receivers for running backs. That's the name of the game. All right, guys, let's knock out Morse code. This is the middle of the show waiver wire section. The theory on this was middle of the show. It has been at the 50-minute mark every week because you guys hit us with the questions. We break this one down by by position. These are the players that we think are likely out there for you in 10 to 12 team leagues. These are 50% available on ESPN right now. Josh, it's pretty limited at quarterback. Matthew Stafford, I mentioned this on the show recently. I was shocked to find Matthew Stafford has been a top 12 quarterback this season. But then Sam Darnold, it certainly seems hit or miss. He's not going to get Tampa Bay every week, but my God, he balled out this week.
Yeah, I'm convinced I was wrong. Straight up. This is not your granddaddy's New York Jets Sam Darnold right now. He's a low-end QB1 rest of the season for me. He fits so well with what Kubiak wants to run. And quite honestly, JSN is looking like Justin Jefferson light right now. Like, dude is absolutely balling. Another one that I was just flat out wrong on. Wasn't sure really how all these pieces were going to fit with what Kubiak wanted to run, with what he's traditionally run. Doesn't fucking matter. So every other offensive coordinator that just relegated JSN to the slot, y'all are fucking dumbasses and don't deserve a goddamn job. Plain and simple. But no, like Darnold's doing the thing. I mean, seriously, he looked better than Baker this past week.
Absolutely.
He played better. And that interception was on a tipped pass. Like, don't let the one flaw fool you. He has outplayed Baker on Sunday.
Yeah.
Baker, like, to me, he's just in that tier below. Like, you still have the guys that are, they pile in the rushing yards, etc. Baker's kind of hopped into that, like, tier right after him, where we all had kind of Joe Burrow and even Patrick Mahomes to a degree. That is Baker's tier right now.
Yeah.
And Sam Darnold's a tier below that for me. That's just how well he is doing. And the biggest difference, really, Mayfield is not afraid to scramble. He will rack up some rushing yards. That's not Sam Darnold's game. He's going to be a pocket passer, but he's throwing the football well. We talked about Torrey Horton earlier in the show. He's making a name for himself as the wide receiver 2 in this offense behind JSN. He's got weapons. He's got a good running game. He's got a moderately decent offensive line is starting to come together, and he's in a system that utilizes what he does well. Do not sleep on Sam Darnold. If he's on your waiver wire and you're streaming the position, or you just want a backup, go get Sam Darnold.
Yep. We're going to move on to running backs. I do want to let you guys know we are about 25 minutes behind on questions right now. After this section, we're actually I might even just skip Mayday. All the questions are about drops anyway. We're just going to go with a speed round of answering your questions so we can get some of them in and try to get out of here in a decent hour. Every question will be answered. It's just going to be a little bit longer. Josh, at running back, when I was looking at the 50% crowd, I ran into a lot of what you ran into. There were some people I found interesting, but I don't know how many of them are really rosterable. We got Kenneth Gainwell, Rico Dowdle, Tyler Algier coming out of the bye, Isaiah Davis, whose time is limited, Kareem Hunt, who knows what the Chiefs are doing, Tyjae Spears coming off the IR. They did say they're going to work up his workload, and then Kendre Miller. Josh, let's start with the elephant in the room. Rico Dowdle not being in my top 5. I want to be honest, Dowdle is only available in 45% of leagues, so that's why he didn't make the article, but we have to mention Rico Dowdle and what's going on with Carolina right now.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, dude had over 200 rushing yards this week. So, like, yeah, if he's on your waiver wire, you absolutely need to go and grab him. But here's the thing. Super Hubbard being out, not expected to miss a large bulk of time. He was running ahead of Dowdle. Did 200 yards get Rico Dowdle more playing time? 100%.
Has to.
At best, what are you looking at then? Dowdle's not your feature guy. You're looking at a Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet situation. Do you legitimately feel comfortable starting any of them in a given week? No. So why would you feel comfortable starting Dowdle at that point? Because I wouldn't. So I think if Dowdle is out there and available for you, he's going to be a trap, in my opinion. Again, it's a little different with Kimani Vidal. I think Dowdle is more talented than Vidal. Vidal has a lot more, what we'll call it, upside and opportunity, because he has no real competition over the next 4 weeks, unless you count, Haskins is legitimate competition. But that's kind of the role that Dowdle is looking at. So, I mean, who do the Panthers play this week?
I'm answering a question in the chat right now. I'm sorry. Let's see. Carolina Panthers play the Cowboys.
That's a revenge game for Dowdle. Okay.
No.
I mean, you probably want to get him in there for that, but yeah, I'm not. But again, like, how significant is the Chuba Hubbard injury? Like, is he going to miss this week too? Because if he misses this week, then yeah, 100% go get Dowdle. He's gonna rake against the Cowboys and their shitty ass run defense. So, but yeah, I'm not rushing for Dowdle. The only one of this group that I would probably prioritize, Kareem Hunt, for obvious reasons. I'm very out on Isaiah Pacheco. He seems to be the guy that's getting ahead another 2 touchdowns this week. But Kendre Miller, and I think is really being slept on, because he's not lighting up the stat sheet. And I've been all over Kendre into this offseason. His snap share has literally increased every single week since week 1. He only played 39% this past week, but the last 2 weeks he's been over 10 or more carries. So there's going to be opportunity for Kendre. We don't know what's going to happen with Alvin Kamara at the trade deadline. All kinds of rumors. He seems to want to stay in New Orleans, so maybe he doesn't get moved. But this could be a time where the Saints see the value in, look, maybe we just got to move on from one of our key pieces, our veterans, get something of value because we're turning the corner. That's going to open up more opportunities for Kendre. He's a 1-2 down thumper, so he's very touchdown reliant. But when you're coming up on these bye weeks, you need this level of depth and these options in your flex. that's why Kendre Miller for me would really be a priority amongst this group.
And I shared this story yesterday. I'll wrap up Kendre Miller on this. Was shocked that he is only 23 years old in his third year in the league. That is just absolutely wild to me.
Yeah, he's young.
As we move on to wide receivers, Josh, we got Troy Franklin, Darnell Mooney, Marvin Mims. The Denver duo is always out there on waivers. I still think Darius Slayton is a buy, much to the chat's chagrin, though. Keep an eye on the hamstring. Christian Kirk, Josh Downs, I was shocked, is out there in more than 50% of leagues. And Tyquan Thornton just keeps scoring touchdowns, Josh. Let's talk about Christian Kirk. Going into a buy, we usually tell folks don't spend a ton on FAAB, but that might give you a chance to get a discount good player here.
Yeah, I mean, this offense has absolutely reshaped itself since Christian Kirk came into the fold. Missed the first few weeks, with an injury. He comes back. This Texans offense actually looks like an offense. They hang 26 on Tennessee, shuts them out. They put up, 40 on Baltimore this past week? Like, they don't have to rely on the young rookies anymore. You have a veteran like Christian Kirk, who's always been talented when he plays and has always performed and played well. Now CJ Stroud has a reliable underneath target option that complements the deep threat ability of Nico Collins. Christian Kirk should 100% be rostered, and I'd argue could be a very prominent flex play for you most weeks.
And Josh, I agree wholeheartedly. There was a running joke at Club Fantasy about my exposure to Christian Kirk in best ball this year. Big Christian Kirk guy myself. I was interested to see what your take is for Darnell Mooney, because he hasn't done a whole lot of shit on the field. Coming out of this bye, do we think we maybe see healthy Darnell Mooney?
Yeah, I mean, he had 11 targets in week 3, put up a dud in week 4 when the offense finally got going, and then obviously the bye week. But the hope is this offense maybe turned a corner, putting up a decent number right before the bye, finding their groove a little bit. Let's remember, when this offense started really getting cooking last year, Darnell Mooney played a big part in that. He was on the verge of a 1,000-yard season last year, just missed it. There's no reason to think this year is going to be any different. Like, Michael Penix is not afraid to throw the football. We just need to have a little bit of patience because, again, he's in his first 10 starts, like not even there. He's only started like 5 games, I think. So
absolutely,
let him get his legs under him. Like, Darnell Mooney's going to have a big role. It's just a matter of when it pops off.
Yep. We see every question in the chat. We are about to do a speed round right after this segment. Josh, let's wrap up this segment with Harold Fannin, Evan Ingram, and Theo Johnson, who I think are the most important tight ends out there in Dynasty, or excuse me, on waivers right now. I will fully admit I had Mason Taylor in this section and moved him to the deep league section. Clearly the whole world wants Mason Taylor, but these 3 guys are out there in more than 50% of leagues right now as well.
Yeah, I like Theo. Obviously the 2 touchdowns is going to vault him up. Not really assuming he's going to do much against Philly this week, but there's obviously the breakfast bros kind of narrative going around between him and Jackson Dart. So I think that, Theo's somebody that definitely should be rostered. Harold Fannin, we've talked about him throughout. There's enough room in this offense for him and Njoku to operate.
And it seems like Dylan
Njoku
Gabriel
puts up a better
him.
stat line this week. Fannin did find the end zone. So they'll have some, back and forth, but this offense is going to run through the 2 tight ends. So, Fannin, just like any tight end, is going to have some good weeks, some bad weeks, but he's somebody that I think should definitely be rostered alongside Theo Johnson. I'm very much out on Ingram. He's going to have his pop week, sure, but it's not going to be near consistent enough for the hype and the draft cost that you paid for him to waste time on it.
All right, Josh, before we get into this speed round, rank those 3 tight ends for me then. Mason Taylor, Harold Fannin, Theo Johnson. How are you prioritizing them on waivers this week?
Fannin, Theo, Ingram. Actually, Fannin, Theo, Mason Taylor, Ingram.
That's what I meant. I wasn't even counting Ingram. I just wanted to know where you had Mason Taylor. So you would put Mason Taylor behind Theo and Fannin, though. Okay, perfect.
Right now, I would. Yeah, I think you can make the case for Taylor over Theo, but just from a volume perspective, because I do think Taylor's going to see more volume, but I think Theo's probably going to have more pop weeks in terms of touchdown opportunities.
All right, guys. We are about to blow through some questions. You are not going to get the analysis you always get from us because we'll be here all day if we do this. I'm going to point you guys to our Saturday show. every Saturday at 11 a.m. All we do is answer start sit questions. You get great analysis. They have an hour to an hour and 15 minutes just to answer these questions with no other agenda. Josh, let's get into it. We are a half an hour behind questions right now. With the Brock Bowers injury possibly being worse than expected, what would you do in this situation? He just traded Jackson Smith and Jigba, Judkins, and Monty for Bijan, Rome, and Pollard. I'm still fine with that trade. And Josh, I'm going to be perfectly honest. Even a half power Brock Bowers is better than a lot of tight ends out there. It's just going to come down to using a roster spot on having a reliable backup every week.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's the long and short of it. You don't need to go really into much more analysis. I like that trade. I think it's pretty even on both sides.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see any other tight ends listed, so it really
only thing you could consider, see if you can turn Bowers and Pollard into like McBride or Jake Ferguson. Give that a try if you want an elite lineup. So
yeah, that's fair.
Joseph Navarro, who would we pick up and stream this week? Mason Taylor, Ertz, or AJ Barner? I know you like Ertz for a bounce back this week, don't you?
Yes, I do. Who's Washington got this week?
Let's see here. Washington has Chicago. Terrible against tight ends typically. So
yeah, it's a Zach Ertz bounce back, and it's on Monday night. He tends to do well in prime time. So
yeah, a little bit tougher matchup for the Jets with the Denver Broncos. Shout out to Josh, Obese Monkey, getting you that first win. Unless you beat Josh. Millie Mills said, literally drafted CD and Henry so far to carry him, but it's been these other guys. Oh, Millie Mills.
Hey,
yep.
Just making a comment. So
yep, doesn't matter as long as you're winning. Dylan Gabriel over Cam Ward this week. I'm not going that far. If I'm choosing between these two, Gabriel could struggle against Pittsburgh, and we like a possibility of Cam Ward against a bad Raiders defense.
Yeah, I think this could very well be the Cam Ward breakout because, again, that Raiders defense is bad.
Yeah. Kincaid and Pearsall for Quentin Johnston. I'll make that trade.
I don't hate it.
Yeah, especially if you need a tight end.
Yeah.
Drop the Lions for Mason Taylor. He already has the Packers. Absolutely.
I don't roster two defenses. So
yep, I'm not dropping A. Maynard for Bourne. Do not get caught up in this Bourne hype.
No.
He played because the top two wide receivers were hurt, and he has a backup quarterback connection. The starters are all coming back at every position, including tight end. Do not get caught up in this Bourne hype.
Correct.
And yeah, go ahead and add Isaiah Davis, especially if you have a free spot. Like,
yeah,
that's.
I mean, it's a free spot. You're protecting Brees in the event of any injuries. Yeah, I don't hate it.
Ivan the Great, who are we favoring as a lead back for the Chargers? That was actually the lead of the show. We think it's Kimani Vidal. Hassan Haskins has made the roster every week because he plays special teams. Vidal is there to be a running back when they need him to be a running back.
Yeah, neither are really going to be all that great for you, to be quite honest. But
drop Wandale for Ridley. Josh, as the guy who loves both of these two, I'm good with this. Ridley,
yeah, I'm fine with it. I think they're basically the same in a way, but I think Ridley just offers more upside. Big playability.
We don't know what that offense looks like with Jackson Dart, plain and simple.
Yeah, we really don't. We've gotten glimpses of it, and it seems like it's just Theo Johnson. So at that point, what's Wandale? What's his role?
Yeah. NRB Hell thinking of trading Josh Allen for James Cook. I would need to know if you have another. Oh, he does have Caleb Williams. He did drop that in on the next thing.
I mean, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, you have Caleb Williams. It's a 1 QB league. I assume it's not dynasty. Make that trade. James Cook is still a top 5 running back.
I have zero issue with that.
Yep. Who would we rather, Mike Evans or Khalil Shakir? Shakir's a target
playing at your
monster.
heartstrings.
Yeah, I was going to say. Shakir's a target monster. If this is full PPR, I might give him a small edge. That is Emeka Ibuka's team. Let's call it what it is. Mike Evans in half PPR or less, but in full PPR, I'll go Khalil Shakir.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that. The emergence of Ibuka is probably going to make Mike Evans a headache to roster for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and the fact that he's a 34-year-old dude with hamstring issues. So.
Yep.
Juju or Waller at the flex in a 14-team league dealing with buys. Josh, I'm going Darren Waller here for sure, even against Chargers.
Yeah, I think I would go Waller. There's nothing in me that ever wants to.
I was going to say, when has Josh Hudson ever started Juju Smith-Schuster?
His second season when he balled out.
Okay, there you go. But that was before he was a complete pariah.
Yeah,
right. Troy McClure showing us some love. He has Hendo, Pollard, Spears, Kendry Miller, Brashard Smith, and Hampton now on IR for Hampton. He needs RB help. Should he try to pick up Haskins or Vidal? We prefer Vidal out of the
Vidal for over Haskins 100%. I mean, there's a lot of depth options that really are just waiting in the wings, to be quite honest.
I think you're going to be fine with Henderson and probably even Pollard. We have always said on this show, Pollard is better when he's a part of a committee because he can be more efficient at that point. Niori has running back Derrick Henry, Ramondre. Oh, he's just commenting again. I think it was from a previous question, but it's certainly been a rough season if you spent a lot of draft capital on Derrick Henry and Travion Henderson, because man, did we
even AJ or RJ Harvey too. Like,
yeah, that's true too.
Fuck, man.
Yep. Gleam 3-2 team has Judkins, Rome, Ebuka, Jamar Chase, Juwan Johnson. God, it sucks being 3-2 with that roster. Would we trade Emeka Ebuka? No. The answer to this is
I don't care who. Not trading Ebuka right now.
You are 3-2 and get to use Jamar Chase as your wide receiver 3. Everything is fine. You're going to be just fine.
Yeah, you are fine, dude.
Yep. Tom Brady wants to know if we would trade Chris Godwin for Michael Carter. I think
I don't know that I go that far.
Yeah. Well, how would we feel about Godwin? I would trade Carter for Godwin, assuming this is Michael Carter. I want Godwin.
Yeah. You want Godwin.
Yes, we are fine with moving Carter for Godwin, which is, I think, what you're asking. We want the Godwin side. Germ, because I can't read. Savage Germ, there we go, was offered. He was getting Daniels in London for Kyler, Caleb, Rice, Dowdle, and Carter.
That's a lot.
So Rashee Rice, I don't care about the running back so much. You're getting London. Yeah, I'm good with that. Why not?
I mean, you're the best pieces in this deal that you're giving up are the quarterbacks.
Yeah, and both the best pieces in the deal are on the other side.
Yeah, I mean, Rice is an enigma. Like you expect him to do well, but I still like London's ceiling better than Rice. So, I mean, I don't know the reason why you would need to trade the 2 quarterbacks for one, but that's fine. Like,
I'm good with it. Drake London's the best piece in this deal from a non-quarterback perspective. So, Craig Lennox. Quarterbacks is Mayfield and Drake May. He has a running back injury problem with Bucky Irving and Hampton. What should you do? No one's trading you a running back for a quarterback, but if you can shop whichever one of these 2 you can turn into a running back, make that trade.
That's really what you need to do. And Craig, I want to apologize because I'm pretty sure you asked me this week, Mayfield or Drake May, and I went Drake May, and obviously that didn't work out as well, considering that they just handed the ball off to Ramondre. But in a vacuum, usually it's a good deal. But I mean, you're fine starting either of those rest of season without any real hiccups outside of a bye week and, God forbid, an injury, knock on wood. But yeah, I mean, if you can move one of those quarterbacks to get a running back, please do. Yeah. I just don't know how many teams are going to be itching to give up a running back when the depth is so thin.
Doesn't happen
for a quarterback when there's so much more depth available.
Yeah, more than likely. Okay, Josh, I'm going to ask you a question he's not asking. Try to answer quickly. If he has to drop one of these 2 to pick up a running back, which of these 2 would you drop in a 1 QB league?
I'd rather light myself on fire than have to drop Drake May or
so don't do it. Suffer through the running backs.
Yeah.
Colby Waldrop wants to know, should he trade Jamar Chase and get CeeDee Lamb? The chat is very much on the CeeDee Lamb side, Josh. And I think if you can wait a week or 2 on CeeDee Lamb getting back to 100%, it's worth it. I would make this trade.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're going to be fine either way, truthfully. I mean, at this point, Jamar Chase and garbage time, like, I'm all about it, right?
Exactly.
But, it's hard to argue with CeeDee over Chase right now just because of how well Dak Prescott's performing.
Yep. All right. GT over on Twitch can trade Evans, Waddle, AK for Lamb and ETN, or Evans, Waddle, Tootin for CD and Henderson. I'll take the top version and get the already proven running back so that I can keep winning games. Give me CD and ETN if I'm making this trade, and I would make this trade.
Yeah, that CD and ETN. That's what I would prefer.
Would you trade JT for Warren and Waddle? I thought the next part of the question was actually interesting, though. JT for Swift and Ebuka, and he did drop his lineup there. He doesn't really need a lot of these guys, but really, Josh, it's a question of would you rather have JT or Ebuka? And I'm going to hold on to JT in the roster spot here.
I want Ebuka.
Do you? Okay, and the chat was with you on that.
I think I want Ebuka. I mean, I don't look. That's a massive downgrade from JT to Swift. Don't get me wrong. I mean, maybe I'm just like way too high on the hype train.
The kid is good. Plain and simple.
He is really fucking good.
Yeah. If you can start Ebuka every single week because I know you're already, if you're in wide receiver trouble and you can start Ibuka every single week, I'm good with this trade. Definitely over the Waddle trade if you're trying to choose between the two.
Yeah, 100%.
This is Ridley for me, and it's not really close. I don't know what to expect out of these running backs. Yeah. Cody Waldrop, is it worth claiming Bucky Irving as quickly as you can?
I'm guessing this is a really shallow league, and somebody
8,
just absolutely needed a roster spot, and
8
they
or 10 team.
Yeah, if Bucky's on priority, you blow every ounce of FAAB.
Yep. Haven't sent in a while. Better answers to start sit questions will be on Saturday, but we will answer them today. Jamar Chase, Ladd McConkey, Zay Flowers, Chris Olave. Josh, we need to start 2 of them.
Yeah, these are champagne problems here.
Exactly.
It's definitely Chase. I'm fine sitting McConkey in this situation.
I am too.
I'd probably go Olave because Cooper Rush sucks.
Yep. Now
if you tell me if Lamar plays this week, then I'll go Flowers over Olave.
That's exactly what words out of my mouth. Yeah. Flowers if Lamar is playing, Olave if he is not.
Correct.
He said he subscribed because he didn't watch the Jerry Jeudy hate video. We
appreciate you, Marvin.
Yeah. Slime, trade Olave and Woody Marks for JCM and Ladd McConkey. This feels pretty damn lateral. I'm obviously higher on Bill than most.
Better running back.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm higher on Bill than most, but who is the better running back to you, Josh?
JCM, not close.
Okay, perfect. All right. Christian Watson and Jalen Coker, obviously both coming off of IR this week. He dropped Darius Slayton, so he has the free roster spot. So I guess we're just choosing between one of these two, Josh. I'm not bought into that Panthers offense where we're now adding a 4th receiver that people care about. So I guess Christian Watson.
Yeah, I'd prefer stashing Watson over Coker.
Yeah. Which trade is better? We already answered. Thoughts on AJ Brown if he'll keep underperforming? Josh, I'll let you take this one as the Eagles fan.
I feel like I'm saying a different version of the same thing every single week when it comes to AJ Brown. He's going to eventually get his. It's a learning curve with this offense, which I hate to say because, it's very established in terms of pieces, but it's a new play caller who's not very creative. But mind you, the system that he's running is not very creative either, and that's Nick Sirianni's system. It's time. And I hate to say that, but it's just time. Yeah. Like AJ Brown seems really out of it in a lot of ways, that he's just really frustrated with the coaching and the decisions. There's been reports that, he's not acting as friendly with Jalen Hurts as they used to be. Like they were good buddies, but, they're seemingly chalking it up to, families and life and things outside of the things just kind of, getting in the way, and less about, them actually like not liking each other. But I'm downgrading AJ Brown is really what I am. Like, I'm not looking at him as that top 10 wide receiver anymore. He's a wide receiver top 24 for me. So, I'm fine putting him in start sit questions, but at the end of the day, he still offers way more upside than most.
Yep, I'm going to throw this one up just because it happens to be about Brown. Tedero, McMillan, and RJ Harvey for Brown, Monty, and A. Manor. Josh, looking at this, this is a tough one for me. I think I would go the AJ Brown side just because I'm getting Monty as well.
Yeah, I want the better running back, and it's Monty.
There you go. Fantasy wants to know, should you trade away Tyler Warren, Bucky, and Sutton for Amon-Ra St. Brown, Hurts, and Kamara as quickly as possible?
Go get the best player in the deal. It's Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yep. Yeah. Go make that trade. Josh, you kind of brought this up. Any chances you can throw out there of Saquon not playing?
I mean, I'd probably put it at about 50-50. And it's not because I think the injury is that serious. I think it's because even without Saquon, the Eagles can beat the Giants.
Yeah.
That's truly what I think. Would it suck to not play him against the Giants when he absolutely murders the Giants? 100%. But they're likely not going to have Landon Dickerson this week, so their offensive line's already taken a hit. And given the fact that this injury, sort of popped up, it's a short week. They'll have 10 days before their next game. When you play a bad team, it almost makes sense to be like, this is the excuse to be able to rest that starter and give them more time to get healthy, almost like a mini bye. You know what I mean? So that's why I would kind of put it at 50-50.
Perfect. Josh, let's knock out a segment real quick. Let's knock out the final segment of the show. Guys, get your questions in. We will answer them one last time at the end of this segment, and then we are out of here. This is Deep Sea Diving. My home league is a 14-team league, so I want to talk about some players that might matter for the deeper leagues that you're not even considering in some of the smaller leagues. Josh, I have this by position as well. So we got Trevor. I'm just going to list a long list of names here, folks. Trevor Lawrence, Tua Tagovailoa, Spencer Rattler, Dylan Gabriel. Interesting-esque players in deeper leagues. We put Hassan Haskins as a deeper league play. Justice Hill, Sean Tucker, Blake Corum, Bam Knight, look him up, from the Arizona Cardinals, did score a touchdown this week. Brashard Smith still saw some touches. At wide receiver, Malik Washington. I had Ilike Amenor, but clearly he belonged in the top section. You guys are still rostering him. Sterling Shepard's still doing his thing. Xavier Legette made one of the best catches I've seen in a long time. Kendrick Bourne in a deeper league. I do think he's a trap, maybe worth a roster spot. So is Kayshon Boutte. The two players we're going to talk about are Ryan Flournoy and Jalen Cloker. Hollywood Brown still out there. Calvin Austin still out there. AJ Barner we've talked about. But Josh, I wanted to bring up Flournoy just quickly, because I'm in a dynasty league with the original 10 fantasy footballers writers. And one of our guys, Mike, said, look, I know we're sports writers and we're not supposed to say this, but who the fuck is Ryan Flournoy? And I think that was a lot of people's perspective this past week.
Yeah, he cost me some money because I bet on Jalen Tolbert, and then Flournoy comes out with 100+ yards. Yeah. No, I mean, I remember when he was drafted, there were definitely some people that, had some opinions that said, given some time, maybe he can come up and he can pop. But I think this is really just a classic situation of, next man up, right?
Right guy, right time.
Right guy, right time. Like, Jalen Tolbert did great things last year. But again, like, his position clearly is George Pickens' position. And it wasn't so much a, Pickens takes over Lamb's role. They just shift, hey, instead of targeting the Z, we're going to target the X as the first read kind of thing, right?
Ryan Flournoy
then kind of takes over the Z, whereas Tolbert runs more of that X. So I think that's really the big point of view there with Flournoy is that, he's seeing more run, and we should be paying more attention to him over Tolbert.
I saw a lot of people already mentioning Jalen Coker, which is why I included him on this list, Josh. I do think he's a little bit of a trap. You don't know what's going on in that Panthers offense outside of Tedero McMillan getting the ball a lot. Is it Xavier Legette?
Clearly.
Yeah, exactly. Is it Xavier Legette? Personally, even in a deeper league, I don't think Jalen Coker is worthy of a final bench spot.
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of people that were high on him, slot receiver, et cetera, was going to see more run than Legette. I mean, they've used Hunter Renfrow a lot. Obviously, Legette's had some hiccups. I had like an 8-target game with 2 catches, negative yards, all this kind of stuff. Like, finally caught the touchdown. Maybe that, elevates him a little bit. Remember, he does have first-round draft capital. He's only in year 2. So there's still some room for him to kind of grow in this system. With Coker, I think he's a talented player, but how many more targets are there really out there outside of Tedero McMillan in this offense? Like, this offense isn't good, and they've shown that they're going to run the football. So at that point, do you really want to waste a roster spot on somebody that may pop, or that's probably only going to see 2 to 4 targets a game? That's kind of where I'm at with Jalen Coker.
There you go. Let's finish the show up with questions. H13 Productions gives us his full roster. Let me see if I can find a question here. Would you pick up Horton, Downs, or Calvin Austin? From that group, Torrey Horton made the top 5. I do like Downs a little bit better moving forward, but for me, it's Torrey Horton.
I would prefer Horton over Downs. Downs is strictly a slot guy, and they've kind of shown that their slot options are Tyler Warren.
Yep.
So, yeah.
And their quarterback and running back option.
Correct,
Should you start Michael Carter or Rico Dowdle this week? That's all going to come down to how healthy is Chuba Hubbard. If 100%. If Dowdle has it by himself, it's Dowdle. We hate the matchup for Carter. It might be Dowdle anyway. Yeah. So,
I mean, it's that revenge game for Dowdle against the Cowboys. The Cowboys' run defense is ass,
and he's coming off of 200 yards. It's Dowdle.
Yeah. Talked yourself into that one, didn't you?
Yeah, exactly. Neil Patel trade Dak for Lamar. He gets Lamar. He has Drake May and CeeDee Lamb. Sure. Why not? You can wait out the injury. You have You have Drake May. I'll do this trade.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need him if you have Drake May. Again, league context would definitely help. If it's a 1 QB league, I don't really see the point, truthfully.
Yeah,
like for as great as Lamar is,
but I mean, he has
is
Dak,
he saving that offense?
But he has Dak and Drake May. Like what I'm getting at is, I'm fine to wait and see if Lamar's good if I can start Drake May while waiting.
Sure, and then maybe you can use May to trade for a piece.
Yeah, later,
I guess. But who? But again, who then would have better trade value to get you a better running back or wide receiver? Dak or Drake May?
Oh, Dak for sure. But I see what you're saying, and then just settle. My thing is, if Lamar pops, if Lamar is the QB1 all of a sudden again, you just bought him for Dak. I think that's a great move. So
that's fair.
ETN or Dobbins rest of the season. Josh, I'm in on this ETN, and I do believe Dobbins will eventually get hurt or seed carries.
Yeah, it's ETN. I don't think it's that close.
Trade Judy for Laporta
in a heartbeat if
as
you can get
fast as you can. We hate Jerry Judy here. Oh, he said it's Hawkinson, not Laporta. Still yes.
Still yes.
Yeah. Anything.
Still yes.
I actually think Hawkinson's a droppable asset. We skipped that part of the show, but he's still better than Judy. There's no guess what? Judy is also a droppable asset. Should you offer Mike Evans and Rashad White for Tedero McMillan? I'm good with that.
I'm okay with that. Yeah, you use the top 10 performance from Rashad White to benefit and upgrade.
Do whatever you can. Yeah. I have seen absolutely nothing on CeeDee Lamb. All I know is he was not listed as out when I published my initial set of rankings. So,
yeah, they initially said it was a 10 to 14 day thing, and then they would evaluate it week to week, which is why they did not put him on IR. So I would say that there's a chance that he plays this week, but I mean, I probably wouldn't be rushing to start him in his first week back after a high ankle sprain, truthfully.
Against Carolina, it might be. Marvin Cano is Flournoy a dynasty pickup. Sure, if you're saying nobody's trading, Ryan Flournoy is not going to turn into anything. I'm going to tell you that right now. So if you can't trade him based on the hype of these next 2 weeks, then don't waste your roster spot on him.
Yeah, that's kind of how I would look at it. Flournoy, I look at more as a taxi squad guy anyway. So
this is a tough question. What guy are we looking to fab dump for? For me, Josh, especially if you're talking about your dynasty league, honestly, your time to fab dump was the first 3 weeks. Now you're just trying to like pick up and stash. What you're hoping for in a redraft league, Josh, is a season-ending injury to someone where you can tell who the direct backup is, and then you fab dump for that backup.
Yeah, so like when what am I thinking of? Well, I mean, if somebody panic dropped Henderson, now that
or
Gibson's
Bucky Irving,
out,
apparently,
or Bucky, yeah, right. Because I mean, look, we've had the conversations even on this show, like, hey, are we thinking about potentially moving off of RJ Harvey, Caleb Johnson, Travion Henderson, like some of these rookies that had some hype? Like, so there may be some people that were sitting at 0-3, maybe 0-4 that had to make that decision. So now that Gibson's out and Henderson's likely going to see more opportunities, if there's, a Henderson out there in your league, 100% I'm fab dumping on him because now he's going to get more run. Like, Ramondre Stevenson's not going to all of a sudden stop fumbling the football. At a certain point, he's going to fumble his way out of that job. And Henderson's going to have to be that guy. So, but yeah, there hasn't really been like a season ender at running back, like maybe outside of Austin Eckler, where, probably you dropped all your fab on Bill if he was still out there and not got drafted after they traded Brian Robinson. But, there hasn't really been that yet, even at the wide receiver position. So.
Yeah. H13 is Dotto a sell high? I think he absolutely is a sell high more than a rest of season hold. Millie, I'm sorry if I shamed you for putting your comment in there. I'm just trying to get through these questions because we had way too much today. You always talk your shit, Millie. You are royalty around here. Talk that shit. We're good with any repping of Atlanta and Bijan Robinson. We're good with it. Trade Judy for Mike Evans as quickly as possible. Any question about trading Jerry Judy? The answer is yes. Trade Judy for a bag of chips that I don't even like. The answer is yes.
That is correct.
14-man start 8 dynasty. What would we sell Montgomery for? Why get? Oh, he doesn't want a mid-round 2 for Montgomery. Why get rid of a flex player for that?
I mean, that's fair. And that's the thing is, like, so many times in dynasty, you see like, I'll offer you picks. Like, no, like if I'm competing and I'm willing to sell, like I want players back, right? Yep. Like, so sometimes it's Montgomery plus a pick to get a player, right? Sometimes it's Montgomery for a player and a pick. if you're willing to downgrade to get that draft asset, and maybe you can package that draft asset for a non-contender to buy players from, right?
Yeah.
But if you're a contender and you're the number 1 seed and you're trying to sell Montgomery, first off, I wouldn't be trying to sell Montgomery if I'm the number 1 seed.
Hold him.
I want to hold him because of that purpose. Now, if you're trying to upgrade from Montgomery, then you need to be able to package your picks or, an upside player that's on your bench for an upgrade, right? That's ultimately how you would attack that position. Now, go get Breece Hall. I think there's plenty of people in Dynasty that are more than willing to move off of Breece Hall. So if I can package Montgomery in a second for Breece, I'm going to do that.
Yeah, use your picks.
Yeah, use your picks. Don't trade Montgomery for picks if you're the number 1 seed.
Yep. Evans in running back trouble. Josh, I'm just going to cut to the chase here. He can trade Travis Hunter for Michael Cotter or Travian Henderson. I think you take that trade for Henderson all day long.
Yeah. I mean, look, I've dropped Travis Hunter in redraft. So like if I can get an RB depth for Travis Hunter, I'm going to do that 100% of the time.
Evan also said he's thinking about spending a bunch of FAAB on Haskins. I disagree with this. It's a 4-week rental at best. He's a special teams player. We're talking 10 touches. I think Kimani Vidal is the better buy there, and I still wouldn't drop a bunch of FAAB on Kimani Vidal. Skywalker says Slayton and Wandale failed miserably. Yes, they did. Of the two, which would we like, or would we take Ridley over both? We've actually said this. We would take Calvin Ridley over both.
Yeah, I would take Ridley over both. I still prefer Slayton over Wandale rest of the season, but
we got 10 team got decimated by injuries. Has Kelsey trying to sell high. Should he stash Mason Taylor or Harold Fannin? We actually prefer Harold Fannin and we hate Evan Ingram. So that played into how we wrapped up the tight end section there. Yep. I love this question. You have an IR spot, Josh. Are you still stashing Joe Mixon? I think the answer is a definite no from our crew here.
Yeah, we've been saying that for weeks. Yeah. Mixon is just the team has literally given us no updates. If the team doesn't have any updates, we don't need to waste our time with it.
Screamed Christian McCaffrey for me right from the rip. So.
Yep. Yeah, I would much rather use it on Benson.
Would we rather have Judy or Shaheed and Palmer? Shaheed and Palmer. Again, Jerry Judy, he doesn't have name value. That's why you're getting these trade offers for him. Or I don't know if you're getting them or sending them. The fact of the matter is he's like the wide receiver 30. He's doing nothing. Dylan Gabriel is going to use the tight ends, not the wide receiver. You don't want Jerry Judy, plain and simple.
Correct.
Already got that one. K-Dog thinking about dropping these guys in his keeper league. Jawan Johnson, Franklin, Ollie Gordon, Harold Fannin. The only one we would say is don't drop Harold Fannin.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about...
Or Jawan Johnson.
Wait, you said keeper. I don't even see that in the question.
I don't know where I got that either.
Yeah. No, you're definitely keeping Fannin. Last on waivers, trying to upgrade if I can. I would hang on to Johnson. I have zero issue hanging on to Fannin. You can kind of rotate, play the matchups with those two. I would prefer holding on to Gordon. So if you need to drop somebody, it's Franklin for me. He's mainly their slot guy. Denver cycles through wide receivers, flavor of the week. You're never going to find the right opportunity to start Franklin, in my opinion. So that would be kind of where I would look.
Yep. We got to blow through these, Josh. I'm not
doing
you're good. We're 90 minutes in. Is Derrick Henry a sell? You're not getting anything back for him. You might as well hold right now.
Yeah, I think he's definitely more of a hold. I mean, it's a PPR league, so I don't really know what kind of value you're getting on him anyway, but I think at best you're looking at a low-end wide receiver 2.
Yep.
Which is not what you drafted him at, so you're losing ROI.
Yes, we prefer Vidal over Haskins, absolutely.
Yep.
Shaheed or Ridley, Josh, Ridley. I think we're both leaning Ridley on this one.
Yeah, don't get caught up in the 1 week blow up for Rashid Shaheed. Like, it was a long touchdown. This is literally his game. That's what he does. Now he's going to be on your bench doing nothing for 3 weeks.
Marvin, this is exactly what we talked about. Welcome to the show. We would have advised you against that trade from the very start. Judy was barely worth the 2, let alone Pollard in a 2. Yeah. Judy's value was tied to Jameis Winston, and that's just not there anymore.
Yep.
We do play in IDP leagues. I'm going to be honest with you. That's better for our Wednesday or Saturday shows than this show specifically because I'm not as dedicated as I once was, and Josh doesn't play in IDP. I think that's everything, guys. I'm getting us the hell out of here. 93 minutes. We appreciate you guys. We appreciate answering all the questions, but I got to go eat lunch. It's been a long ass morning. Have a great one, guys. We are live again tonight at 10 o'clock. Derek Tate and oh my God, I'm blanking up. Sam Holt.
You forget Sam, Jesus.
Sideline banter tonight at 10 o'clock, our co-production with Women in Fantasy Football. It's been a long day. See you guys next week.